Alright guys, today I'm going to show you how to start your value grid portrait project. So what I've gotten so far is I've got a centimeter ruler that I printed out. I've got a value grid paint scale that we'll use later. And I've picked out a portrait with high contrast, lots of darks, lots of midtones, lots of lights. Really good. And this is James Dean. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is take this, and we're going to use centimeters. Right, so I'm going to find the 0. I'm going to line it up at the edge of the printout. Then I'm going to take my pencil here. I'm going to make a dash at every single centimeter all the way around the portrait. So it came up to 21 squares, or 21 centimeters. It will be squares later. Alright, so I'm going to do that here again. Now this is the tedious part, but is the most crucial part, because if you don't get this correct, your value grid portrait might be a little off, a little out of square, a little wonky. And you might be like, why does it look so weird? And most likely you didn't get your measurements lined up correctly with each other. I'm going to turn it. First, I guess I'm going to show you up close. See? All the way around. Both sides. Now I'm going to do the longer side. Line it up with 0. Looks like my guy's a little bit bigger than my printout ruler, so what I'm going to do is I'd rather cut off some of his shoulder and his neck than more of his head and hair. So I'm going to line the end of the 25 up with the edge of the image. And I'm going to go back and do the same thing all the way around. Normally I would use a real metal or wooden ruler, but for today's purposes I'm trying to use the same stuff that you guys might have if we get sent home for distance learning. And sometimes there's kids who can't handle using a ruler without smacking people with it, so I have to give them a paper ruler too. So, I'm going to line this up again. Okay, now I'm just going to connect these. Line it up, connect it. When you're holding your ruler, a lot of times I see kids, they'll want to hold it at one end and then it slips out on them and then their line goes all crooked. So you want to try to make sure you hold it in the middle. I like to kind of spread my hand out a little bit so it's got support. I had a kid one time and he couldn't figure out what was wrong with his drawing. He's like, why can't I make straight lines? Well, it turned out he was holding his ruler over here and he was trying to draw his line over here. And I'm like, dude, you got to put them together. very important that you utilize your tools for their intended purpose correctly. And if you choose a really, really dark picture that has a lot of black in it, you might find yourself having a hard time seeing your pencil line, and you're welcome to use a gel pen or a white colored pencil to make your lines if you think that would help. One more. Okay, so I got the horizontal lines drawn on his face. Now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to do these. Actually, I am going to grab another ruler. Or actually, I'm just going to use this straight edge here, because I don't really need to measure anything at this point. See how I slid my hand down there to support it because it is so long? You want to make sure if you need to do that, you do that. Otherwise, it'll slip on you. And then you'll have wonky lines that don't go where they're supposed to go, like what I just did right there. But that's what the beauty of an eraser is for. Whoa. And if you happen to do that, what I just did, I just erase just a little bit. Pencil got a little wild on me. It's not the end of the world. I don't know if you can hear this on your video or not, but that's my rooster going off in the background, Dr. Pecker. That's his name. He's a good rooster. He has the decency not to crow at 3 a.m. like some of our previous roosters. Oh boy, one last line on this one anyway. Alright, so that's how you put the grid on your portrait.